years, this tiny drop of an island in the Indian Ocean has remained mostly a mystery. Years of political conflict have prevented travelers from fully experiencing its wonders. But its long history of trade with great civilizations has given it the name Serendip, from which the word serendipity came from. Known until recent decades as Ceylon, it has given the world a taste of the yield of its land. In this adventure, we discover the vibrant culture of the venerable island Sri Lanka. Like many great adventures, this story began with the arrival of an aircraft. The Embraer Legacy 500 has just landed in Manila, and I hosted its arrival in the hangar. Embraer pilot Jason McCann showed me the cockpit, and practically all the information a pilot needs is just a mouse click away. From aircraft engine and systems, navigation, and airport data. Its advanced fly-by-wire technology and auto-throttle make life so much easier and safer for the pilot. I was very impressed by the aircraft's cutting-edge technology, but the real test is challenging its range of more than 3,000 nautical miles at a speed of Mach 0.8. Before the aircraft returned to Europe, I was lucky enough to be offered a seat on board any destination from Manila within the aircraft's range. Studying my options, I felt that it was about time that I take a trip to Sri Lanka, a place that has always piqued my curiosity but had never had the chance to visit. So together with Manfred and Nilma of Embraer, it was roughly a 5-hour flight to Negombo. As luck would have it, I didn't have to sit on the controls, but instead experience the luxury of being a passenger.
You can see inside it's quite a comfortable aeroplane. We've got plenty of space. This being a mid-size aircraft, you don't normally get the 6-foot stand-up headroom.
With a galley that can serve hot meals, very quiet cabin, and great company, it was easily a very enjoyable flight. After the meal, I even had time to take a quick nap with my seat fully reclined to make a proper bed. I felt kind of guilty, sleeping peacefully as the boys did all the work of landing the aircraft. Saying goodbye to Nilma and Manfred, I went on to explore Sri Lanka. We landed in Negombo, a beachside city. Negombo was once the central trading hub during the Portuguese and then the Dutch era because of its accessibility to the Indian Ocean. Negombo's shallow lagoons provide safe shelter for seafaring vessels, thus establishing its importance as a key trading port. Catholic images are seen all over Negombo, a lingering influence of the Portuguese. Aside from trade, it is also part of Sri Lanka's big seafood industry. Today, the fish market is still busy with catch from both the sea and the lagoon. Fish are hauled from the sea, while crabs are caught from the lagoons. There's plenty of fish to go around for everyone, even for these egrets waiting for their portion of the day's catch. Surrounded by water, Sri Lanka's history of trade stretches back to ancient times, with spices, pearls and gems being traded with the Greek and Arab kingdoms. One of its greatest treasures was a plant growing in its fertile shores. Cinnamon. The precious spice is obtained by Arab middlemen from Ceylon, present-day Sri Lanka. Its variety of uses and the difficulty of shipping increased its value, that it was almost more precious than gold. Cinnamon is endemic here in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, it is in more plantation. Cinnamon is in a very famous in Sri Lanka. The real cinnamon color, only the Sri Lanka one.
What about the cinnamon tree? How long before it starts bearing?
It's something about 5-6 years you can get it.
You
because
can get it.
You get it something. It's in a cinnamon tree. The bunch it is in a bush type, no?
Yes. Cinnamon leaves are dried and boiled to extract cinnamon oil, while its stems are peeled to get to the inner bark, which is turned into cinnamon powder. As the demand for the spice in Europe grew, expeditions were made to find its source. As a result, seas were charted, countries were invaded, and the rest is world history as we know it. Up next, we learn more about Sri Lanka's deep faith and travel back to the time of kings. Still exploring the pearl of the Indian Ocean, I got to know Sri Lankan hospitality through a family-run chain, Jetwing Hotels. Known for their well-located and upscale properties all over the country, they are also a pioneer in sustainability and eco-friendly initiatives. I was able to chat with Hyacinth, the general manager of Jetwing Beach, the hotel chain's first property. And I understand you concentrate on making a green hotel. In what aspects have you done that?
Especially we started in small ways like waste separation and things and so on, reducing the plastics and then also recycling. When we started in 2004, we were the first to have solar hot water. So that time it was something new to Sri Lanka. Then when we refurbished the blue again in 2010, then we have the solar electricity. With the change and we have been acquired the green initiatives, though the initial investment is high, we know that it pays a price.
It is worth noting that most of Sri Lanka has valued preservation and taking care of its environment. I stayed in Jetwing Viluyana in the country's north-central province. Their well-appointed rooms made use of local materials, and they always make sure their property blends well into the natural surroundings. Here, they built their cabins over rice paddies, now being plowed for planting. It could be the country's strong Buddhist tradition that teaches profound respect for life and nature. After all, about 70% of Sri Lanka's population are practicing Buddhists. When the religion first spread from India, one of the first nations where it has taken root was here in Sri Lanka. Under the overhang of this rock, in Sri Lanka's Matale district, lies one of Buddhism's most sacred pilgrimage sites, the Dambulla Cave Temples, an impressive complex carved out of solid rock, houses ancient Buddhist statues and mural paintings. The delicately made images contained in these 5 caves have existed for over 22 centuries. Buddhism's deep roots in the country can also be credited to its early kings who adapted the religion and allowed it to flourish by building magnificent temples and monasteries along with their grand cities. A good example of an ancient royal city with Buddhism placed significantly at its center can be found in Sri Lanka's north central province.
Polonnaruwa is the second ancient capital of Sri Lanka. Its ruins are a testament to the greatness and discipline of its rulers.
The Lakanthilaka Hall houses the colossal image of a standing Buddha, about 41 feet in height, made entirely of bricks. Its walls are decorated with elaborate designs and carvings. It was built by King Parakramabahu, a devout Buddhist king and a great builder. Polonnaruwa flourished under his reign, developing the area for trade and agriculture, as well as a center for Buddhist tradition. One of the hundreds of temples he built is the Gal Vihara or Rock Temple, an impressive collection of massive Buddha images in different meditation poses, carved in a single granite rock. The ancient images, framed in a natural setting, are still favorite sites of Buddhist pilgrims, 900 years after they were built. Now declared a World Heritage Site, Polonnaruwa's well-preserved archaeological finds are eternal reminders of the golden age of kings. In the middle of the tropical jungle stands one of Sri Lanka's iconic landmarks, the Lion Rock of Sigiriya. I found out that there's more to it than just being an outcrop of igneous rock. It came with an interesting backstory. Kaishapa, a legitimate son of the king, had big ambitions and did not let anyone get in the way, even his own father.
After killing his father and taking the throne, Kaishapa moved the capital to this rock and made a fortress out of it.
Today, less than 20% of the structures can be seen. But the palace grounds were once an earthly paradise of lush gardens, fountains, and pools. This leads up to a steep limestone staircase with arches carved out of boulders.
If the enemies of Kaishapa had to go up to these stairs and they're just as fit as I am, they will be dead before they reach the top.
It was indeed a defensive advantage to have a 360-degree view of your surroundings from a vantage point this high. I have not even reached the main entrance. On the way to the top, we catch a few details of the king's eccentricities.
This was called the mirror wall. It used to be very polished, and when the king passed by, he could see his reflection here.
Aside from catching a view of himself, he also liked to keep sight of his ladies. Inside a covered portion of the rock, we see brightly colored frescoes of beautiful maidens believed to be some of the king's many wives. It is said that the whole side of the rock fortress used to be covered in paintings, but these are what remain, immaculately preserved for 1,600 years.
I'm almost there.
Finally, I reach the citadel's main entrance. Giant paws greet visitors and enemies alike. They are what remain of the lion's full face and body. A nod to the ancient belief that Sri Lanka's first king descended from a family of lions. From the lion's mouth, steps lead up to the main palace. Although the rain marred the view that day, it cannot extinguish the grandeur of one man's imagination that is today An unmatched example of aesthetics, engineering, urban planning, and enviable popularity with women. Up next, I'm off to discover more of Sri Lanka's subtle charms and get up close with its wildlife. I wanted to get deep into the heart of Sri Lanka to learn more about the local life.
Today, we're going to check out traditional village life here in rural Sri Lanka. And there's no other better way to do that than with a bull cart.
For a minute, I thought I lost control of my bull. Luckily, I got to steer it to the direction of the village. Before we reached the village, we had to cross a man-made reservoir. During the time of the kings, they had the foresight to build an intricate water system, collecting rainwater in tanks and channeling water from the river to the dry areas. Until today, these ancient water systems irrigate and give life to the villages of Sri Lanka.
This is so nice and peaceful. I wish this was my regular office commute instead of the traffic that I go through every day. And what a view. I can see Sigiriya rock, all these lotus plants, so nice and quiet. I can hear all the birds.
It was a nice, relaxing ride across the water. Until the boatman mentioned crocodiles.
Oh, there's crocodile here.
Yeah, maybe 3 meters.
Okay, I better not fall then. I better sit tight.
We spotted a group of cormorant birds fishing in the water.
There's a flock of cormorant birds right there. I'd like to have a pet and train them how to fish. It's funny how they spread their wings to dry them up.
I was lucky my guide was not only an expert rower, but also talented in fashioning different things out of lotus flowers.
Now he's got all these tricks with his natural things. He's got my lotus cap, and now he's doing something with his flower. Oh, okay. So you didn't even use anything, huh? Everything was natural. I better look like I'm local, otherwise the crocodile might get me. Seems like I'm in paradise here.
Finally, we reached the banks of the village of Hirawaduna. I was welcomed by Lalitha into her home to give me a glimpse of everyday life in the rural area. She was about to prepare a meal, and I thought I'd give her a hand. It starts by pounding some rice.
So, this is the rice. Okay. So we put it here. Okay. Wow, you're good. Left and right. Can I try? I try. Wow, this is hard. How can you let it bounce? Ah, you're very good. Let me see how you do it. Yeah. Oh, the two of us. Yeah. I can do left, right also.
No pre-packed ingredients here. Everything starts from scratch. After the rice is pounded, it is then sifted.
Oh, so we take out all these things. I see. I'm worried if I do it, all the dust go everywhere. Better do it.
Lalitha then grinds the rice in a stone grinder. This is what we will use to make roti, a traditional flat bread. In the meantime, we prepare the next ingredients. Lalitha takes some coconuts, skillfully peels them, and cuts them open. Then, we prepare to grate the meat inside.
I try. Okay, sure I can do this. This is not so difficult. 2 hands. Round, okay. So I have to keep on turning. Can we just eat? It's very good. I think it's quicker. Very good. Okay, I have to finish my work. It's not an easy job. I think Sri Lankan women are very hardworking. I think I'm only good at eating.
Lalitha starts the fire for the roti, heating a flat griddle.
So what she's doing is blowing into this fire and uses the coconut husk. So it's a recycling of everything, huh? It's hard to be an assistant cook when you don't know what to do.
Then she combines grated coconut, flour, salt, and water to make the dough.
Gives it a flavor.
Then it is placed flat over the hot griddle. As our roti cooked over the fire, Lalitha uses the rest of the coconut to make a popular Sri Lankan side dish, coconut sambal, over a special rock mortar. She combines chili and salt.
Ooh, I think very strong taste, huh? So Sri Lankan food, always chili, always spicy is good.
Then, some onions.
And then the coconut now.
Then, she squeezes some lime over the mixture and continues to grind with a special stone. It looked very tasty.
I can taste it now? Wow, spicy, but good. Very good. There's a flavor of the onion, and the lime gives it a fresh flavor as well, huh?
Meanwhile, our roti is also cooked and ready. Together with the coconut sambal, it made for a simple, fresh-tasting meal.
Very spicy.
But it was also very filling.
I can live here. I can survive with my coconut sambal and roti with a nice view, nice and peaceful house with a squirrel pet.
What a very nice experience to see how Lalitha lived in this village. It was simple, away from the cares of city life. Most houses had a separate treehouse where they watch if there are any elephants approaching their crops. If there was one thing farmers in this area worried about, it would be elephants. The Hero Aduna village is not very far from the Miniria National Park, where Sri Lanka's largest concentration of Asiatic elephants roam freely. We set off to search for these elephants in the wild.
As we enter the park, we see this lagoon filled with lotus plants and with egrets, cormorants. I feel like I'm in another world altogether.
The water reservoir also drew the elephants into this area, giving them a source of water and fertile soil where fresh grass grew. We rode through the rough trails of the park, trying to follow their tracks. Such big animals, they were very good at hiding. Finally, we spotted them.
For a while, we thought it was just a boulder. You come closer and you see their tails and their ears moving. That big one there looks like she's a pregnant female.
The Sri Lankan subspecies are the largest of the Asiatic elephants. They are also darker, but with some areas of their skin without pigments.
The difference between the African and the Asiatic elephants is that the Asiatic ones are smaller. They've got bumps on their head. They've got smaller ears, and the female would not grow a tusk, not like the African elephants.
It was a fun ride tracking them and looking for them in the wild.
And I can see a baby and a mother elephant right there. It's so nice seeing them eating very peacefully. Seeing the elephants in the wild is something totally different from seeing them in the zoo.
Elephants are, after all, some of the smartest and empathetic creatures in the world. These magnificent animals deserve our protection. Sri Lanka has really captivated me with its colorful history and warm people. With its vast wealth of natural resources, culture, and deeply rooted faith, it is no wonder why Arab traders call this place Serendib, from which the word serendipity was coined. Because indeed, discovering Sri Lanka can only be described as a pleasant surprise. In the next part of this adventure, I travel further up to its hill country, down to its southern coast, to further understand this island's beautiful mysteries. A truly serendipitous experience. This has been your captain, Joy Roa. See you in the next Asian Air Safari.